Severia. What compelled you to open up a bookstore?
So I recently opened up ByWay Books and More at 399 Canal St, right? And it was motivated because my mom relocated here to Vernon, Vermont, to the Brattleboro area, and I have been working in the book industry for a long time, and felt like this would be the ultimate experience in the book business, is owning your own retail store, and serving the public and learning what customers want to read.
Oh, what impressed me is that you have a big compassion for local writers and support, and I never felt that in another bookstore. So that's why I always gravitate towards your bookstore.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a brother, and he was 4 years younger than me, but he passed away, so he's not in the area. I have 2 sons, and one is in Connecticut and the other is in New York City, and they're adults now, so they're independent, thank goodness. Not big readers, but they read for school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite authors or genre or books that you like?
I enjoy all kinds of literature and work, and I'm involved in few book clubs so that I can become more familiar with different authors and different genres. And one of them kind of focuses on 200 pages or less, so it could be fiction or nonfiction. And another one is predominantly bestseller oriented, so I get to learn some of the hot new authors and what's most popular currently. Another book club is the Silent Book Club, which is really fun because you bring whatever you're reading to the Silent Book Club and read and share your book with the other members who participate in that silent reading time. And it's nice to have that dedicated time and space so that you are focused on reading, because not too many people are able to take the time out to do that. And I'm trying to think what else. Those are the main book clubs. And forgive me, we started one out of the bookstore, so a lot of customers were asking about having a book club, and I'm stressing the book club only because it is a great means to exploring different types of authors and works, and getting a feel for what you like and you don't like. So we just started one. ByWay Books and More is now hosting its own book club. And we started with The Great Gatsby, which is a classic. The reason we started with that is that this year, 2025, is its 100th year anniversary from publication. And it was, it's relevant, it's applicable to current, society, I guess, in America. So it's an perennial theme, basically pursuing the American dream and class, race, and privilege, and that kind of thing. So we had a discussion, and our next book is by Ocean Vuong's The Emperor of Gladness, and he is one of the participating authors of the Brattleboro Literary Festival coming up in October. So we decided we would read his book, since he's an up-and-coming author and he's supposed to be very, very good. So it was initiated from the customers who were interested in getting together to discuss different types of works.
Now, when will the book club be meeting for if people want to participate?
On Wednesdays, once a month right now. The next one is scheduled September 24th. So at 6 p.m. when the store closes. So anybody can come. You're not obligated to read. You're not obligated to stick with the book club. You can come for one month of discussion and not come for another. So I try to keep it very open and fluid so that people feel comfortable jumping in when they want and bouncing out when they need to, and just having the experience of sharing thoughts and impressions about what you read is it's nice. It makes the experience a little more rewarding than just like, oh, I thought this or I thought that about the book, and talking to somebody who has no idea what you're talking about. It's nice to share it with people who can relate to what you're talking about.
I think that would be fun. I remember when my middle son was younger, he was into Harry Potter, and he would get books, and after he read them, I would read it, and we'd discuss the book. We did that with 4 or 5 books.
Wow, that's great.
So that was really fun.
Yeah, and it really helps the kids stay engaged, I think, with children and yourself. Like as an adult, like I might not go back and read some of the books, but I did that for my boys in middle school. I wanted to read alongside them and get a feel for literature I hadn't read before too, like To Kill a Mockingbird or this author Avi. So yeah, it's a good idea for parents to do that.
It was nice to get a different perspective, some things I didn't even see in the book that you saw.
Exactly, and especially with kids, because they'll do that. They'll give you insight that you didn't even think about. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then it's a cool way to start conversations with your own children.
Right. Tell me some more about your background.
So like I said, I've always been in the book business in some way, and I've always been around books because my mother was a reader and a writer, and so she was always sitting there reading a book, while keeping an eye on us outside, and I was always, just drawn to, going to libraries and exploring all kinds of stories. And then I started working for the library, and I started working for bookstores and college bookstores and like law libraries and the range of different places, outlets for books. And then I got an internship at a publisher at Curbstone Press, which is no longer publishing, but they had published Martin Espada, who is also a featured Brattleboro Literary Festival author this year, poet. And then from there, I got a job working for Warner Books in the Time Warner company, and we started off with this as a sales assistant, and then I moved on to Penguin Putnam Publishing Group and managed the remainders. So out of the operations department, I worked on handling all the titles that were no longer going to be in print. And that was an amazing job. And then I left New York, came to Connecticut, worked for small children's publishing, worked for Barnes & Noble. My last job before opening the store was managing a Friends of the Library bookstore in Stamford, Connecticut. And so for 10 years, I oversaw the operation of 2 bookstores in 2 different parts of the town. And it was all fueled by donations, community support, and community customers.
I remember one time I was working at the bakery. I was on the break while waiting for my shift to start, and I was reading a book. And a 20-year-old came into the store and into the room, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm reading. I said, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, "Because it helps my imagination." He said, "Why don't you just watch TV?"
Really?
Yeah, that was his perspective.
That's funny. Okay.
Well, no, that's not. TV doesn't help your imagination.
Yeah, I think he missed. He missed something in that translation.
Yeah.
Of help your imagination and TV. But it's funny, sometimes people might think like that might work in reverse, right? I was at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and my son and I were walking through the Egyptian exhibit, and he saw the names of, I guess, gods or whoever they were referring to, and he's like, "Oh, look, they took it from Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a playing card game. Like what do you call it? I forgot what. Not a role playing, kind of like a role playing game, but he said, he put it differently. Instead of saying, "Oh, this is where the concept came from," he said, "Oh, look, they are like mirroring what the game is doing." So sometimes kids don't see the right direction, of the way art and life works.
I think it's important with your children to impress upon them that the arts are important. I remember when my kids were young, I'd go up in their room and we all have a drawing pad and we'd draw. And my youngest son became a really good artist.
Wow.
Illustrator. In fact, his illustrations are going to be on the cover of my new book.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's good. And you're coming out with that when?
It's coming up soon. I just sent the proofreading back to the publisher.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, no, like you started, I really do appreciate the local artists, and that's one thing that is really exciting about being here in Brattleboro, is learning about how many people are engaged with creating something. And when we met, which was at the supermarket, and I was promoting the bookstore and you're promoting yourself as a poet, it just is like exciting, to think that, you could have, you could showcase somebody's work and share that with other people and have the community connect with each other. And I'm happy to be in that place where I can do that and support the art and the artist and do what I can to like really promote what they're working on and stuff like that. Especially, when people like you who are like the heart of Brattleboro, in a sense of like you're coming at this work from that perspective. And I assume you've been here for a pretty long time, right?
I've been in the area for lived in Keene for 21 years, in Chesterfield for 11.
Oh, okay.
Then I moved to Brattleboro, so I've been here about 7 years.
Okay, yeah. So at least in the general area, you're getting, and I'm learning from other people, poets and authors and stuff, that there's a deep reflection of the environment, the sentiment, and how to reflect on oneself from the local artists, which is really, really, really cool to learn about. Mm-hmm.
I know, going through the years, I've worked and talked with quite a few writers. I read Ernie Hebert. He was from Keene, and he had a couple, I think 3 bestsellers. And I talked to him on the phone. I said, I can't write prose because I can't do dialogue. Everything falls flat at one dimension. I don't know how to do that. And he goes, if you can write any form of writing, you can write any form of writing. So it's like, well, Ernie, maybe
Really?
you can, but yeah.
But, well, there's something to practice, right?
Yeah.
We all have to get better at our craft all the time, or there's always room to get better at our craft all the time. Like, I'm constantly thinking about new ways to do things, a little differently, to engage with, the customers and the artists and stuff like that. For example, an author was brought to my attention, and it sounded like an incredible opportunity, but there was a fee attached to bringing that author in. And instead of saying no, like I can't afford to do that right now because I'm so young in my business, I'm thinking, okay, how else can I make this work so that I can not only promote this new children's author, but make the sales and bring their work to the broader audience. So I'm thinking about ways to partner with other organizations in town to see if they can help support that financially, because I can't pay to have somebody come and present their book. But But it sounded like a really cool event because it incorporated music and stuff like that. So you always have to like tweak things that you're doing, I think, to fit your purpose and mission. And if you want to communicate something, there's got to be the perfect way, which isn't necessarily the only way for anything to be communicated, right? You're going to tweak it according to your audience or what it is you're trying to say. And I've learned to do that through, marketing materials, what's the best presentation and that kind of thing. So it's always a work in progress.
Yeah, you do a good job.
Thank you. I hope it resonates.
I know I spoke with a poet laureate, through email, and I thought it would be great if I could get her to read at your bookstore, but she wanted $350.
Oh, wow.
For a fee.
Oh, boy.
And one time I had aspirations to become a poet laureate, and I looked at it, they're bogged down with tours and lectures, and I don't have any time for your own creative stuff if you have to worry about deadlines and all this stuff.
Yeah, then it sort of loses its spark, right? Well, thanks for inquiring on my behalf, but you can see, people charge, and it's it's hard to justify that when you're,
Unfortunately, when I write something, I like it, then I put it back and I say, oh, that's terrible. So I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah, well, that's good for a moment, and then you can go back maybe even later and just be like, oh, that wasn't so terrible, right?
Yeah, I
so
do
you
that
don't
all
have
the
to
time.
too self.
Do you have any talent from your mother for writing?
I don't know, because I never really tried writing a story or a novel, novella or anything. I liked poetry, though, when I was little. I enjoyed, my own little poetry things. And, it's fun to play with words and figure out, like, the best way to say something. But I have not pursued that. But my mom loves to write, and she writes for the young adults, audience, mostly in dystopian.
She writes children's books, or
not like the young adult dystopian, kids who are survivors and dealing with their own insecurities and anxieties and that kind of thing, but not like anxious people, but just when you're at that place in life where you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's great. Has she had things published, or?
Yeah, she wrote a book called The Last Score, which was published by Scholastic eons ago. And she recently self-published a few, stories it's supposed to be a trilogy. So she's got two of them out. One is called Zoo, and the other one is called Wild. And I have her in my shop, and I have a customer reading her, and she's enjoying it. I've had actually two customers read her stuff, and they've enjoyed it. And she just doesn't have the wherewithal to do all that self-promotion stuff like that comes along with, being recognized and awarded. And
right.
But so she doesn't want to go down that road. So she'd rather just not deal with it too much.
Yeah, it's hard because
the high end of publishing.
You have to deal with a lot of rejection too. So I know.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're doing well, and are you with the same publisher that you? Yeah,
I'm still with Austin McCauley.
That's great.
It's hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's hard to get people, especially a new writer, for people to recognize that person and buy their books. Because if they don't know who you are, then
it's tough. I try to promote the locals and new debut authors. There's a couple of local publishers who've sent some new authors my way, which is really nice. And the turnout can be a little light and somewhat disappointing, but at the same time, for me it's important to read the book too, to read the work and get a sense of it and be able to then speak to it more authentically than not, so I can work on promoting and stuff like that. So we have a few things coming up. I have 2 poets, Terry Hauptman, who's also a painter, and Tony Ortner, who's been a teacher as well. Their poetry is they're reading together in September. And I have Greg Orifici, whom you've met, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and he's a master gardener, so he's going to be presenting his first book of poetry, and it's really good. And yeah, you'll enjoy his. I don't know. Have you read his work at all?
I think I have.
Yeah,
Did he self-publish?
Kind of. I think. I don't know. And that's something else I want to kind of get into on my website, is also be a source of information about publishing options, between self-publishing, hybrid, versus like Amazon publishing, and then like these other like paid groups, because I think a lot of people have a lot of questions about that, and it's hard to figure that out. So he's coming on the 17th. Then I got an offer to host the author Annie Grossman, who wrote about dog training, how to train your dog with love and science. So she will be at the store on September 20th, a Saturday evening, with 2 other dog training authors, book authors. And then I'm trying to think what else I have coming up. I will be featuring Matt Spencer and Claire Goodband, and this is her debut, and he's published before. You're familiar with Matt Spencer?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's local, and so I figured it'd be nice for him to read with her, so that she feels, supported in her first foray in reading, I think. So that'll be October 4th. So
it's good to do different exercises too. I had a friend who was writing that I read his stuff, and it was like he was explaining everything like it was prose. And I said, you can't do that in poetry. You got to leave something for the imagination. Just use verbs and nouns that don't usually collide together. Put them together. So what I did was, we're going to do something different. I said, I'm going to write a line, you're going to write a line. And we did a whole poem, and then I edited the whole thing. So I got 2 perspectives in one piece of work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's really cool.
Did a whole book like that.
Did you really?
Yeah, we never published, but it gave him the incentive to look at things differently.
Nice. That's a really cool exercise. And have you taken any classes and studied anything regarding poetry?
When I was in college, I did a couple of classes in poetry.
Okay.
What started me was I was taking a typing class, and I was getting a D, so I took it over, and to exercise, I started playing around with poems for my typing, and then I started getting
that's
to like it.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like these unusual spaces and dashes in poems that I've noticed, and I'm like, what does that mean? What is that conveying? What is that supposed to imply? So it's when you really get into like the dirt of like how something is written, and technically, it's like it adds another layer of meaning to what you're reading, right?
Yeah, I'm not like E comics, so I don't split my words apart.
No, okay, but your stuff is really good to listen to, and it's cool that you don't you leave a lot up to the imagination, and you seem to really put a lot of importance on the imagination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Writing is a good catharsis, at least for me. I write a lot about people that have made an impression in my life, and nature and all that.
Yeah, and I hope that when your 3rd book comes out, that you'll present that at the shop.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be fun. Do you think it'll be ready like by the beginning of the new year?
I'm hoping that will be the case.
Okay, all right. Because last year you were my headliner as I inaugurated those poetry events, monthly poetry readings, which we'll do again. So it'd be kind of neat to have you do that again this January. You know.
Yeah, I'm at the end of the road right now because I just sent in the final editing. So
Yay!
hopefully they'll get it going.
That's good. That's really good. So.
So how long has the bookstore been there? A year?
A year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half. So I opened December 26th, 2023. So that was like the, least optimal time to open. But we just plowed through. At least it allowed me to reach my low bar because, there was probably not going to be a whole lot of sales after the holidays, So in the dead of winter, of course, up here. But this December 26th will be 2 years that I'll be open. So
You'd have to go through a lot of paperwork with the city as far as establishing the bookstore?
There's always like zoning and certain things you have to be aware of, I think, but I don't think they were too terrible. I think that it was pretty easy. My mom did a lot of that for me, so I didn't have to be in and out too much, which was good because we bought the property, and it's over 100-year-old property, so it needed, I guess, a little extra in terms of attention from the town and attention internally, but it was otherwise well maintained, so there wasn't a lot we had to do. But you have to go through inspections and all that fun stuff, and then outfitting it and making it accessible as a bookstore was important. And since it is ADA compliant, with a ramp and a wide enough bathroom and just accessibility in general, I wanted to maintain that so that it was definitely welcoming for anybody and everybody, regardless of how they're coming to the store. So
you have an upstairs?
That's an apartment.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's a whole separate entity. And when I get big enough that I can expand, then I won't need to have that rented, and I can expand the bookstore up that direction. Yeah. So it hopefully could stay in that space.
Yeah, you have a good location.
Thank you. I think it is good. People are questioning me, like, why not be downtown? But I think it's working out. I get people from off the highway who are charging their EVs, and people looking for a quick stop, whether for a restroom, which is fine, or getting their book for vacation. It's easy. It's right off the highway. I have free parking. Like I said, it's just, like less than a quarter of a mile from the highway. And between the supermarket and the hospital, there's a lot of foot traffic.
Yep.
And so they're beginning to, pop in, check it out. It's good.
Yeah, I tell people a lot at the store too. They're looking for the bookstore. I said, it's 5 minutes down the road.
Less, even less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. I appreciate it. So, yeah.
So
it's good to get that support.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess I'm out of questions, but is there anything else you want to add about the bookstore? Or?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to highlight the children's section. It's not huge, but I have a dedicated children's section in the shop, and it hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but I'm hoping to change that this fall. Last year I did Day of the Dead story time, so I highlighted the holiday leading up to the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican holiday celebrating the souls that have passed away. And every Saturday I did a story time at 11, so I'm doing that again in October. So starting October 4th through November 2nd, I believe, is the last Saturday. It's in when All Saints Day or All Souls Day happens. And also to highlight the children's area, I am bringing on 3 very well-known children's authors from the area. Karen Hess, who's a Newbery Award-winning author for Out of the Dust, and Eileen Cristolo, who wrote and illustrates Five Little Monkeys. She's got a fantastic series of that. And then Liza Ketchum, who's a naturalist, and she recently had published and released a book called Turtles Head Home, and it was launched at the Boston Maritime Museum, I believe. And so all 3 of them are willing to come and do an author signing event. So no reading, but they are going to be available to dedicate and sign books for customers who purchase any one of their books. And it's a really sweet opportunity to meet and greet the authors who are obviously behind these great works, have a book that you want to gift to a friend, like a kid coming in shopping for a friend's birthday can pick one of them out and tell the author, who is it for and what is the occasion, and they get to talk to the author and ask questions, and then have the gift wrapped up. I could even have that done in the shop as well. So our focus and highlight of the children's section is going to become more prevalent as we move along towards through the holiday season. So I just wanted to mention
that sounds really good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming and
I hope this works.
giving it a wealth of information. Right.
Yeah, probably more than.
Go to the bookstore, get all your books for Christmas and everything.
Thank you,
All right.
Michael.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful. Appreciate it.